Today, I've got a story that's sure to stir up some strong opinions. Imagine being heavily pregnant and feeling sidelined by your partner's devotion to his mother, who's going through a health scare. Our OP's husband has been so wrapped up in his mom's issues that he missed some major milestones in her pregnancy, but things hit a breaking point when she went into labor, and he wasn't there. From r/am I the bumhole? Am I the bumhole for not telling my husband I was in labor? My mother-in-law is currently going through a health scare and is being tested for cancer. She won't have her results for a week or so. But since the mention of cancer, my mother-in-law has been clinging to my husband fiercely. She has been asking him to go over there every day for the past 3 weeks just to hang out with her because she might not have much time left. She's been having him drive her to every doctor's appointment. She's even jumped the gun and quit her job to sit at home and work on her health, which is fine. But what's not fine is her already asking my husband if she can borrow money. Thankfully, he hasn't given her anything I would know as I work our finances. Anyways, there have been multiple times in the past 3 weeks that my husband has run late for special events, work, etc. because he's over helping his mother. And as much as I hate to admit it, it has been the cause of 3 pretty significant fights recently. His argument is that he wants to spend time with his mother because life is short, and where she may have cancer, he's not doing so well mentally. And I get that, but he's severely impacting me by doing so. Like I missed an important ultrasound because Mommy Dearest needed him because she was having a panic attack. He did try rushing home, and he got me to my appointment, but I was 15 minutes late, and therefore they needed to reschedule. Well, yesterday around 10 a.m., I told my husband I felt like I was going to go into labor soon. My body felt different, and there was a lot more pressure. But roughly 2 hours later, his mother calls and says that she is, TMI, dumping blood and needs to be rushed to the emergency room. Instead of calling an ambulance, she called my husband. She has Medicaid, so ambulance rides aren't something she has to pay for. He immediately rushed to her side. My water breaks at 1:36 p.m. I remain calm. I was already having a home birth. My midwife was on her way. I knew everything would be okay. But I did call my husband. No answer. I then texted my husband, and I asked him where he was. No response. I text again and ask him how long he will be. No response. I text a third and final time, saying, I kind of need you home. No response. I have the baby without him. I did not tell him anything about me being in labor. I have our daughter at 3:13 p.m. I text my husband a picture of our daughter, with no context. He is home within a half hour, is pissed at me for not sending him a text specifically stating that my water had broken, and I find out that he had been sitting in his truck in the parking lot, waiting for his mother outside. So he had his phone and got my texts, but he was stressing and figured it was yet another false alarm. I had 3 false alarms. He says I'm in the wrong. I'm choosing to ignore his anger, as I have bigger things to worry about, my perfect daughter. But now that I've had her, I do feel a bit of guilt. Am I the bumhole? Not the bumhole. You told him you were feeling different. You texted him 3 times, all of which he chose to ignore. Even if he thought they could have been a false alarm, he should have checked in with you. He chose not to. Should one of your texts have specifically stated you were in labor? Yes, but the bigger issue here is that he has been lagging off when it comes to you and the pregnancy to the point that you missed an appointment. I get that his mother is ill, and he wants to spend quality time with her and support her. However, it is coming at the expense of neglecting his marital and fatherly responsibility. He needs to find a balance, otherwise you guys are just married housemates. You will be feeling like a single mother, and he will be missing these important milestones and developing a bond with his daughter, and wonder why she does not seek him out for comfort or other needs. He says that you were in the wrong, yet this man has not taken any accountability for his behavior. Not the bumhole. I get it that his mother might be sick, but his wife is 9 months pregnant. He showed you who is more important to him, his mommy. not his wife and future child. Believe him, lots of people have cancer, and it is a terrible disease, but they don't need constant help like this from their son. Let's also not forget she hasn't even been diagnosed yet. You need to seriously consider your future with this man, if you can even call him that. 100% not the bumhole. As scary as cancer is, I have seen way too many mothers who absolutely needed their sons away from their spouses and came up with all sorts of medical issues, which turned out to be no issues after all. His mother is not dying. There are no results, and yet the husband acts like the mother could die any minute. He makes it clear who his priority is. Do you want your child to grow up in a family that allows and excuses this behavior? If he can't, or doesn't want to, set boundaries with his mother. You have to set some for yourself. Take care of yourself and your child, and do what's best for both of you. All right, now let's move on to our next story, which brings us into another family dilemma. Imagine finding out that your sisters had been sabotaging your wife's acne treatment during her pregnancy, and then discovering that your mom's fiancé gave them the money to cover the cost of the ruined cream behind your back. Our OP is furious and has taken some drastic steps by banning the fiancé from their home and planning to boycott their wedding. From r/am I the bumhole? Am I the bumhole for refusing to allow my mom's fiancé in our home and boycotting their wedding because he gave my sisters money? My beautiful wife and I recently had a baby boy, and during her pregnancy, she suffered from acne. She has always had great skin, so it was totally new to her, and it was devastating to her self-esteem. She was given some prescription cream from her dermatologist, and it worked for a little while, and then stopped working. I know to some people this might not be a big deal, but she is very insecure about her looks. I don't know why, and she felt terrible. Well, I recently found out that my sisters were switching the prescription cream with regular moisturizer. I've never been so angry with them in my life. I exploded. My mom had them apologize and told them they needed to pay for all of the cream they threw away. They are so spoiled that their response was okay, and then sticking their hand out to our mom. She said she wasn't paying, and they needed to figure it out. My mom was serious they needed to pay, but she also didn't seem okay with them getting jobs. She has this attitude that she has worked too hard for her daughters to have some crappy job at the mall. I guess she was expecting them to sell something or maybe babysit. Well, they recently came up with the money. I took it, of course, but I'm still not ready to move on with them. However, as they were leaving, I heard this exchange. My mom asked where they got it, and they both looked at her fiancé and burst out laughing. My mom looked at him, and he was like, "Well, you just said you wouldn't give it to them. You never said I couldn't." I saw red. I confronted him immediately, and he told me what he does with his money isn't my business. I said, while technically that is true, I will never look at him the same again. I don't want him in my house, and I'm not going to their wedding. Now my mom is calling me ridiculous and saying they are a package deal, so don't expect her to come around either. I feel slightly bad because I know what a big deal a wedding is. Am I the bumhole here? Not the bumhole for choosing your wife over a bunch of selfish bumholes. If they're behaving like this now, then they are going to behave like this in the future. If your mom wants to come down on the wrong side of this, that is up to her. She can come or not. Don't let them blackmail you into folding on this issue. If there is time, you could try to see some family counseling to deal with this issue. However, it sounds like they won't be interested in doing the right thing. Otherwise, stand your ground. Not the bumhole. What your sisters did was unbelievably cruel to your wife, and your mother's fiancé enabled them to escape responsibility for it. You really don't want them or him around you and your wife. Their next prank may be even worse, and you don't want to risk it. If your mother chooses to abandon you because you distance yourself from these horrible girls and their enabler, then that's the way it will be. Your first responsibility is to protect your wife and child. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and check out these videos for more great content. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.